Hello and welcome to Acoustic Review. My name is Ben Morgan Brown and today I'm looking at the A5M ARE from Yamaha Guitars. Yamaha are well known for providing quality guitars at a variety of prices, and the A5M sits in the middle of their range, just at the point where their guitars start to be manufactured in Japan. The A5M features a solid Sitka spruce top with the ARE treatment, solid mahogany back and sides, a 3-ply African mahogany neck with an ebony fingerboard, a scale length of 650mm with a tusk nut that has a width of 43mm. The saddle is also tusk and sits on an ebony bridge, and the body of the guitar is finished in a high gloss finish, whereas the neck is satin. Yamaha's SR2 pickup is included, as is a Yamaha hard case, and the guitar has an RRP of £1,241. The specs on this guitar look very good on paper, and I'm interested to play a Japanese-made instrument at this price point, so let's have a listen to the guitar now, and then come back afterwards for my thoughts. The first thing that caught my eye with this guitar was the warm colour and straight grain of the spruce top. It's a nice piece of wood and it contrasts well with the dark ebony bridge and the slightly extravagant pickguard. The wood binding and rosette are a welcome touch that softens the look of the guitar, and I really like Yamaha's take on the more vintage style open back tuners. Apart from one small mark on the end of the fingerboard, this guitar is as close to perfect as you can get. The inside of the guitar is really cleanly built, and all the binding and the rosette and the inlays are all very neatly done. As I mentioned before, the spruce top has a very straight grain, but also the mahogany on the back and sides are nice pieces of wood too, particularly the back, which from some angles had quite a lot of flame to it. The controls for the pickup aren't too intrusive, and overall I would say the guitar has a very solid and reliable feel and look, but it's not boring, it's definitely an attractive modern acoustic. I thought the guitar was very balanced for finger picking, with a good response in the low end and a snappy attack to the top end. That snappiness got a little bit bright with strumming, but I think that would calm down over time, particularly as the strings played in, and also I think as the guitar settled in a little bit. It may not be as powerful as some dreadnoughts, but I think the mahogany back and sides contribute to a clarity and dryness in the voice that would sit well with vocals and in a band mix. The built-in SRT2 preamp has the ability to blend in a modelled microphone sound as well as the pickup sound, and when set to 100%, the pickup was a very decent piezo tone. It's still recognisable as a piezo pickup, but it definitely had a bit more depth than some of the other piezos I've heard in the past. As you blend in some of the modelled microphone, the tone does soften and lose some of that piezo edge. It never totally goes away, but although there's not actually a real microphone inside the guitar, once you get to 100% of the microphone blend, the plugged in tone definitely has more depth, more air and more body to the sound. The playability is very good with a slim neck and a low action. The 43mm nut width is perhaps a little narrow for some fingerstyle players, but I personally didn't have any issues with it and my fingers weren't tripping over themselves. So I think if you're used to this width of nut, you'd have no issues playing this guitar at all. I think this guitar would be a good match for anyone wanting a full voice but without too many overtones. Perhaps you're going to be using it to accompany yourself singing, or you want a sound that's going to fit well in a band mix, or you just prefer a slightly less lush sound than you would get with, rosewood back and sides, for example. The built-in pickup has a good usable sound, and I definitely get the feeling that this would be a reliable workhorse both on stage and at home. With an RRP of £1,241, this guitar sits at a point where it's competing with some of the lower end offerings from some big American brands. For some years now, Japanese guitars have held their own when it comes to build quality in relation to the big American brands, and this guitar is no exception. When you consider the quality of the workmanship, the quality of the woods and the quality of the sound, then I think £1,200 is a very fair price for this guitar in today's market. Although I like the minimalist controls for the pickup, one thing I would change is that there's no markings to designate which control is which. Although there are some stickers included in the case if you wanted to make things clear, that would be a shame to put them on the side of the guitar when Yamaha could have just included some small indication on the controls themselves. Something I really liked with this guitar though was the immediacy of that bass sound when playing fingerstyle. I would hazard a guess that the scalloped bracing has added to this aspect of the tone somewhat, and I'd be interested to hear what the guitar would sound like after another 6 months of playing. I would guess that the top end would soften a little bit and perhaps the bass would become a little rounder. Overall, the Yamaha A5M strikes me as a reliable, honest guitar with an easy playability, a solid unplugged and plugged in tone, and whilst it might not have the excitement of some other brands at this price point, I think it would be a worthy investment for any player looking for a good guitar at a good price. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Acoustic Review. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media to be kept up to date with new videos, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.